video we'll be discussing vibraphone dampening and pedaling. So most of the time when you play the vibes, we use the pedal to stop the sustained notes. When the pedal is deployed, all of the notes will ring through until you release the pedal, stopping the notes. So like this. Releasing the pedal stops the notes from ringing. But there are often times in vibraphone music that call for the pedal to be deployed for an extended period of time, for an extended passage, in which case we use something called mallet dampening in order to create a legato effect but still be able to stop some of the notes from ringing. If this happens too early, then there will be a gap in between the notes, which defeats the purpose of mallet dampening because we're supposed to be creating more of a legato effect than simply depressing and releasing the pedal. If it happens too late, then you have an overlap of sound, which also defeats the purpose of dampening the note, because the purpose is to not have space in between and to not have any overlap. It is very important that this happens simultaneously. For example, here's an example of mallet dampening that happens too early. When it happens too early, there's a gap in between one note to the next. Here's what it sounds like when you mallet dampen too late. There's a bleed over of the previous tone to the next one. Now there are two different types of slide dampening. There's alternating, which involves playing alternate strokes, and dampening with whatever hand is not playing. For example, in this technique, we're using both hands to play notes and to dampen notes. The other type of slide dampening is called trailing. In this technique, one hand plays all of the notes while the other hand follows behind and dampens them all out. For example, if you're playing a scale, your right hand would play each note and your left hand would follow behind, dampening as you go. For example, another type of mallet dampening technique that we use is called sliding. It's called the sliding technique, which oftentimes occurs when there's simply not another mallet available to dampen. So if you play two notes with your right hand, it would be sliding back down to the tone bar that's next to the last note you played and canceling it out with that one after you strike the second note. Oftentimes, mallet dampening is notated in the music by an X over the note which needs to be dampened. The X will occur in the rhythmic point in the measure where the mallet dampening should take place. In many cases, the dampening will not be notated in the music at all. In these cases, it's up to the musician and their discretion as to when it is appropriate for mallet dampening to occur.